Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is Friday afternoon. We've got a pop-up episode. TJ Pittenger, Richie Barnes, and we are interviewing from FSU Soccer, Beata Olsson. Did I do that right? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
Close
that
enough?
sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Teammates, you told us your teammates call you B. They just definitely take the
Yeah, they
lazy,
call me
easy
B.
way out.
Yeah, I get that though. It's a hard name.
We appreciate you taking some time, and Americans are lazy, so it just kind of is what it, we'll just own it. We appreciate you taking some time and chatting with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So we'll jump right into it, and we like to keep it kind of loose. We like to have a good time. Double Fries No Slaw. We talked a little bit about it off air. Kind of an ode to Guthrie's there. There's one right off of Tennessee, just past stadium. So you definitely got to go check that out, and you haven't just yet. But you're obviously not from the U.S., from Sweden. What are some of your favorite places to eat around Tallahassee? Since you've been to town, where do you go a lot?
Ooh, that's hard. I'm I usually go where my roommates go. Actually, they like Natural Kitchen. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then we've been to Gordo's.
Oh yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been some places.
Yeah. No. Okay, so we'll jump right into it then. But definitely hit Guthrie's. Definitely go. We talked about when the prime time to go to Guthrie's is. We won't mention on air, but you know the vibes at this point. Is what I say. So, you started out your career. You came over from Sweden. Started out your career at Florida, and after you told us just one semester, really and it was kind of a weird one too with COVID and everything else that was going on. Transferred over to FSU. Talk to us about that decision. Talk to us about leaving FSU and leaving UF to come to FSU, and then I don't think you realized when you did that how that would be taken and how people would kind of view that. So talk to us about what that's been like since, and kind of understand the rivalry and things like that.
Yeah, no, I committed quite early, a few years ago, to go to UF, and I came there thinking I would have the same the coaches that I committed to, but they quit actually in the spring, 30 days after I arrived or something. They quit, so that was a big deal for me. So then I started to look for other places that could maybe बैnefit my soccer more, and I decided to transfer, and I actually got some help from UF to do it. And I ended up here because this is obviously the best soccer school, and I'm really happy about it. But as you said, I did not know that the rivalry between these schools are insane, and I did not understand that at first.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that you didn't understand it, and I've heard people. I went to class with international students when I was at Florida State who were like, "Whoa, this is a little serious. You guys really don't like each other."
Yeah.
And then you end up at Florida State, but then your first game against Florida, you get 2 goals against them and a win. How good did that feel? And did you know the magnitude, how big of a deal that was when you had 2 goals against UF?
No, I don't know. That game, and maybe it was after the game that I first realized that what happened really. But I have the most respect for that program, and I'm still friends with all the people there. So for me, it was more I don't know. For me, the rivalry maybe wasn't as big before the game as I understood after the game. So with that win that we had and my 2 goals, that was definitely an eye opener, I would say.
They definitely in Tallahassee, they definitely take the rivalry very seriously. Yeah. I don't know if you guys were playing or if you got to go or not, but they packed out Tully when we beat them in volleyball, and obviously everybody gets up for the big football games, and then you'll see in the fall softball and baseball get kind of the same way, it gets heated, and but it's a ton of fun. Basketball as well. I mean, I feel like they haven't beat us in basketball in almost a decade, so that's fun. But
really?
Yeah, it ends up every sport it's just all right, time for UF, and everybody kind of gets going a little bit more. So we've talked to Coach Krikorian on here a couple of times and talked to different people, but talk to us about playing for him and the decision to come to FSU, and what that experience has been like to be under his leadership.
Yeah, as I said, like when I just chose to transfer, I did it mainly for the coaches and to get a better environment. And the moment I started speaking to Mark, I realized that this is the school to be if you want to have like a pro environment and a coach that really takes you serious. So for me, being like having him as my coach and the whole staff with both Ema and Mike, that's it's a very like I feel like they treat us more like adults maybe than many other schools, I would say. And for sure take like we understand that we're here for school, absolutely, but soccer is our main priority, and the support we get from them to become as good as we can is extreme. So I really appreciate it.
How much does his success of getting international players, how much did that play a role? You think of, like Mabi Yamaguchi and Dana Castellanos. He is a worldwide recruiter, and if he finds a player he likes, he's going to go get them. Did that play a role into your decision at all, how successful he's been with international players?
Yeah, for sure. I trust him with those decisions, and I know that it sets a standard here when we have these internationals. Like half our team almost is international, so I know that he knows what he's doing, both in the US and internationally. So for me, that was a big thing in coming here and knowing that I would have the support not only as a student here, but also like as an international student.
So you've come in and made quite an impact, lead the team in scoring. Did you know that like when you were coming to an already loaded team that, just barely missed out on a national championship last year, that you would come in and dominate like you have?
No.
And well, or just, have the success. Like, there wasn't really a, like any kind of learning curve or, at least it didn't seem that way. I was obviously we're not there training with you and things like that. But did you know that you'd kind of like just pick it up and be able to have the success that you had that quickly?
I don't know. I feel like when I started talking to Mark about coming here, I felt like he had a need, like they had a need. McFarland, Kristen, she left. So I feel like they had a need for a new striker maybe.
Yeah.
And he watched me play a lot and I watched them like play. So I kind of knew what I was going into. Like the playing system here is not too different from what I've been doing in Sweden. And I understand that he like saw me play and saw potential, I guess, that I could fit in here straight away. So I'm guessing like, as you said, the learning curve wasn't maybe that long, but I hope and I know that like in the spring and stuff, I'll adjust even more and probably get better, I hope.
Yeah, for sure. No, we're excited to have you kind of killing it for years here.
So, yeah, it's fun to be here.
Well, talking about just the level of competition, I mean, you're in a unique situation. You played in the U16, U17, U18, U19 leagues, all in Sweden. So you're used to that international competition with a lot of competition. And, the ACC in the United States is widely regarded as the best soccer conference there is. And there's not really a close second, almost like, the SEC with football. How much of that did that play a role in coming to Florida State, knowing you're going to play the best teams in the country almost every single week?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the first time I chose schools, I don't think it's very hard as an international to understand how it works over here with the conferences and the NCAA tournament and stuff like that. But being at Florida for half a year made me maybe understand, and like people explained to me what's with the different conferences and how they're different. And from everyone I heard, like as you said, the ACC is the place to be if you want to play good soccer and meet the best teams. So that absolutely played a role for me in coming here. I feel like the whole like Florida State as itself is just a perfect match if you want to be at the best school and also play the best team. So yeah.
Folks have also told us they really appreciate how Coach Krikorian allows folks to go back and play for their home countries, and that's not something that's super common. What has been the biggest difference in the play here in the U.S., both at your time at Florida and here at Florida State, versus playing back home? What's been maybe the most difficult thing to overcome, or the biggest challenge for you on the field?
I think the tempo here might be higher, and also like the athleticism, because you have like basically unlimited substitutes, which compared to playing in Sweden and in Europe, you only have 3. So you have to, the game maybe pulsates more. What do you call it? Like
That's the perfect word. Yeah.
Okay, Paul. Yeah, it goes up and down more, and like the tempo changes. While here, if we notice, like, or if the coach notice, I guess, that the team is like, I don't know, not as high as intensity anymore, he can easily make substitutes and put that tempo in, and that creates a higher pressure, I would say. So, and also like a higher level of athleticism. So for me, that's the biggest difference since I got here.
Florida State's seen a lot of success since you've been here. Obviously, have had success for years. Finished the regular season last night with a draw against Virginia at 14-1-2, and head into the ACC tournament at as the 2 seed. Obviously after the ACCs, then we'll go to the national tournament and hope to get back to the College Cup and win another national title, right? At least compete for one. What is the team's mindset after winning so many games in a row and then a couple of tough results with 2 draws and a loss? What's the team's mindset heading into the ACC tournament right now?
I would say that we're pretty set. Like this, as you said, we had some easier games in the beginning, and that for sure, maybe like coming in and meeting UNC and Duke and then Virginia, it was a big difference in level. But having those behind us right now and knowing that we could develop from the first game to the second and now to the third against Virginia, I think that coming from those 3 games into the tournament makes a difference in how that, like, now we're already at that level. We know what we need to do to be there and what we absolutely need to do better to win the games. So I would say that even though we had some hard games, it's a great startup for what's to come, I would say. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And that game last night was a ton of fun to watch. It was on the ACC network, a 1-1 draw against Virginia. I thought Clara's shot was going into the end.
I thought so too.
I was so excited.
Oh
my gosh. Like I yelled and my wife was like, shut up, the kids are sleeping. And I was like, oh, sorry. But Yuji's goal was unreal. Like that was like messy. Like the distance from like how far back she was from the behind the 18 was like something like we talked a little bit off air, like Messi or Ronaldo would have done. Like that was just absurd from how far out she was. Did you get a good view of it? Were you running ahead? Like I didn't really picture where you were.
No, I was like she was shooting from the right side. I was just standing on the penalty box on the other side, so I could watch the whole shot. Yeah, it's good. She's a great player. Like the technique she has, I don't think I've seen anyone over here in the college league have it. She's actually insane with that.
Yeah, she is. Her touch on the ball, and you were talking about like substitutes. It feels like every time she comes in, she just makes like an immediate difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
when coach subs her in. So, so you talked about like the difference, and it's so much different than like European soccer, where you've got the ACC tournament, and then you want to get to the we'll qualify for the big tournament either way. But how do you approach like you're wanting to win the ACC, but then you also obviously have a bigger goal of winning the national championship. Like how do you like distinguish that in your mind? Like, trying to focus ahead or trying to like look ahead and stay focused on what you have ahead of you. Cause we also obviously like to win an ACC as well. Cause the ACC is the best and they'll have 8 or 9 teams in the main tournament. And so like, how do you kind of prioritize that and not look ahead too far?
I think we just take it one step at a time. And for sure, as you said, our main goal is the NCAA tournament. Absolutely. Which I guess every team in the country probably has. So seeing the ACC maybe as a step towards that, like, even though it doesn't really impact what happens in the NCAA tournament, it's definitely a step on the way where we can develop, and we need to do that more and take advantage of playing really good teams and learning how we can beat them and make our play even better. So for us, I would say that's on the learning on the way maybe, and those games are just as important on our way to the hopefully national championship.
And I'm always curious, especially with international players. We talked about Dana Castellanos a little bit ago, how when she was at Florida State, she had over 1 million Instagram followers, and if there was a name, image, and likeness program in place, she could have done really well. Do you get any inquiries from back home of companies saying, hey, I want to sponsor be over at Florida State, because she's has more than doubled the goals of the next player on the team currently, and she's just turning into an ACC star. What's the name, image, and likeness discussion been like around not just you, but the entire team? Because this is a fascinating new development here in American college sports.
Yeah, I think it's so new. Like right now, everyone's in the process of maybe using it and taking advantage of it. And for internationals, I think right now there's something about the visa that makes that we can't do it, really. I think there's something messing it up right now. So it's a little harder to understand for us as an international. But I'm guessing it's on the going up. And from what I've heard, many people are going to take use of it and like use it for their better and like take advantage of it, which I understand. And that's a really smart way to do it. Because as you said, college sports is huge. So if you can use your platform here to build on to something later, that really benefits you. So I think the whole team is absolutely on the go to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, TJ, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're fine. Sorry.
All right. No, I just wanted to ask because again, I love talking with international students who aren't familiar with, typical American universities and the sporting events we love. Have you had a chance to get to a football game yet? And what are your thoughts of, American college football and how insane us college football fans are with this sport? Because it's almost like professional football over on your side of the pond.
Yeah. No, actually, we got to go to the first game. Was that Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to go to that one, and then we went to another one. I don't remember which one, but the Notre Dame game was huge. That was crazy, actually. It was really fun, and it made me like over here. Sports is just more than sports. It's like an industry.
Yeah.
It's like the fans are crazy. Everything is crazy around it, and just being there, it was a huge atmosphere. Everything around. I don't know anything about football though, so for me the game was a little hard to understand, but the rest of it was just like it was amazing to be there.
If you really were trying to like explain American football to somebody, like it really does make you kind of like understand and realize like, yeah, there's just a lot of dumb rules that like mean nothing. Like soccer's got like two rules, like right, like don't use your hand and don't beat the last defender, right? Like, like two rules. But like football is just like you can't move this way and you can't look this way and you can't,
Yeah, so, you can't pass someone. Like I understand. Like I see people running. I'm like, why don't they just pass them? But apparently you can't. I don't know.
And in football, if you score a touchdown and you celebrate with your team, you get a penalty. Like no one.
Oh really?
That. Yes.
No. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Well, if you celebrate too much.
Yeah, but in college, it's a short leash.
Oh yeah, college is less. Like I remember we were talking about Barcelona and different teams like that. Like I've seen guys like take their shirts off and get yellow cards and stuff like that, for celebrating after a penalty. So I don't think Coach Krikorian would be a big fan of that here at FSU. I don't think he'd be very happy on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like to win the national championship. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
But amazing. Have you been? I know you guys are busy. I know you guys practice quite a bit. Have you been able to make it to any other sports around campus? Like, is there anything like you really like? If you didn't play soccer, what sport would you go? Like try to play or go see like every game? Like what would it be if it wasn't soccer for you?
We might actually go to volleyball tonight, which I think is a really interesting sport. So that will be fun. That would be my first volleyball game. Otherwise, I like tennis. I haven't seen anything here though, but I played a little less when I was younger. So that might be something to watch in the spring.
Yeah, tennis is awesome. And Richie and I went to a tennis match this year. Coach Hyde is fantastic. We one of our interns here on the show and the website is Vic Allen, so she's an international student as well. She's fantastic. But Richie and I went and saw them. I think it was the Sweet 16 matchup. So to get to the final eight, the quarterfinal last year, they beat Texas A&M, I think. And they're really, really good. The men signed the number one recruiting class.
Oh wow.
In the nation last year, which that's like no big deal for Coach Krikorian, but it was cool for our men to sign the number one class, and so both teams should be really, really good. Volleyball is really good too. I think they're like honoring the one sophomore on the team tonight. And
really?
They finish up their season in just a couple of weeks as well. So super sophomore.
The one
night.
Senior then,
No, super sophomore night at the
super really? Sophomore? Oh.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, I'll go.
I had no idea.
It's for Sydney Conley. It's like,
oh wow,
she's the only sophomore on the team, so they're making a night just for her.
Awesome.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
Yeah.
that's fun. All right, cool. Well, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you hanging out and chatting with us a little bit. We're excited to see you guys play in the ACC tournament this upcoming week, and obviously the big tournament when that kind of gets kicked off and going. So we're big fans. We're really glad that you picked us over UF. That's probably the most fun part. But really glad that you've had success here and excited to watch you for years to come. We really appreciate all that you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for the support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We will be back on Sunday, maybe tomorrow night. It depends on what happens in that game and if Richie's still down at the bar. But we'll be back on Sunday night to talk all things FSU, recap the FSU Clemson game, and more. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you soon.
Wait a second. I got a question for Beata.
Oh, my goodness. Already wrapped up.
I was going to say score prediction for the Florida State Clemson football game tomorrow.
She just
football.
Told you. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Richie.
Just give me, do we beat Clemson or not?
Yeah, I think we beat them. Yeah.
All right. You heard it here first.
Richie's the worst.
Me and TJ already picked Florida State to win. So
okay, good.
I think we win too. So if we don't win, then we're all three wrong. So it kind of works out. All right.
Don't worry. They'll come after me and TJ. So.
Okay, great.
This time for real. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you on Sunday. Go Noles.